Welcome everyone to this episode of Chai Tea Naan Bread. We've got myself, Rainer, and Imran. Imran, say hi.
Ryder, how you doing, man?
Good man, good to see you. It's been crazy, I think almost 2 weeks since we last met. We did
Yeah,
no
it's been
recording, right?
it definitely feels like a long while.
Too
Yeah, man.
long.
How's everything? How's the family?
Good man, good. It's been a crazy wild ride, right? The world is not calmed down any much more than when we last spoke. In fact, it seems to be getting worse and worse and worse, right? Uh,
Oh man, everywhere you look, it's just despair. You know
yeah,
what I mean? It's not good. Sometimes you just need to unplug yourself as well,
yeah,
and take care of like people that are closer to you.
yeah,
Because everywhere you look, as you said, like social media is filled with like images coming out of Ukraine. You have like there was an earthquake in Japan the other day,
yeah,
like a 7.4 Richter scale.
right.
And India shot a missile into Pakistan.
Yeah, some
So it's
crazy stuff.
just bonkers stuff
Yeah,
every day. It's like
and
new stuff, man.
China was laser targeting one of the Australian warships, so it's it's like the whole world has just gotten crazy. I don't even know where to begin. I think we should just start off, with what's going on with the war. Just give kind of a little update around that. As you know, the world has kind of put sanctions. We touched base on this last time. I'm not sure whether they're going to put any bits of those recordings, but we did touch base on the sanctions that Canada is kind of levied on Russia. The world is kind of levying on Russia as well, and how that's kind of playing out. But those sanctions then impact a lot of things because Russia, I don't know if you're aware, is one of the world's largest exporters of oil, aluminum, steel, fertilizer, cereals, just to name their top few, right? And when you put sanctions on a country that is one of the largest exporters of these things, causes a big shortage worldwide. And those big
Definitely.
shortages cause price increases worldwide, right? As you
It's
know.
we it's such a globalized world we live in, right?
Yeah,
Where this thing is happening, like halfway around the world in
right.
Europe, and I go to fill my gas here, and I can feel it at the pump.
Right, right.
Right? And as you mentioned, yeah, a lot of countries have put sanctions, and it's a bit fascinating to see how all these countries have come together and galvanized together to
So
put
quickly,
sanctions
right?
on the country, and so quickly, right?
Right,
Where
right,
you think that the UN, and you just feel like it's a lot of like paperwork and like
right,
nothing really gets done. But
right,
just in the course of 2 weeks, you have all these countries putting sanctions on Russia, right? And
right,
not even the government, but even on like Russian oligarchs who have businesses all over the world,
right,
right?
right,
So
right,
like you might know already, Chelsea,
right,
right? Every like if you want to follow football, Chelsea Football Club,
right,
owned by a Russian billionaire,
right,
right? England is forcing him to sell the club just
right,
because Russia got involved in Ukraine.
right.
So yeah, it's very interesting to see, and hopefully there's a solution to this. A
Well,
lot of civilians.
yeah, a lot of civilians are being affected. It's on the ground, and there's a lot of, as we spoke about earlier, right? A lot of misinformation because this being one of the first, TikTok wars, so to speak, and
Yeah,
WhatsApp present wars. It's a lot of information, misinformation, and a lot of stuff around
it's
that.
it's a coincidence you mentioned TikTok war. Like just the other day, I saw a video on TikTok, and
Right.
it's viral. It's got a lot of likes and a lot of shares and whatnot about this paratrooper,
Mm-hmm.
dropping down in Kiev or Kharkiv,
Right.
and it was shown as a Russian paratrooper
Right.
recording himself going into battlefield, right?
Right.
But it turns out this video was actually 3 or 4 years old,
Right.
right? And that's how quickly misinformation spreads,
Right.
right?
Right.
And if you think about it, like I'm sure you as well, like
Right.
we grew up in the first Gulf War,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Where there was no social media.
Yeah.
I remember I was in Saudi Arabia when the first Gulf War erupted,
Yeah.
and every 2 days we would try to call our grandmother in India, and
Right.
we would say, "Oh, let's do a trunk call,"
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And let my grandmother know, "Hey, we are okay," right? There was
Right.
no WhatsApp, there was no email.
Right.
So now that social media, it's brought the whole world together. We can see the atrocities of war firsthand, but at the
Right,
same time, there's a lot of misinformation as well. So we
right.
have to be careful what we consume.
Definitely, definitely. And I mean, to our viewers, obviously be aware of what it is that you read, do your own research, right? Always try and look at it from an objective lens so that way you've got the best information out there. It's very difficult. I mean, it's very difficult to kind of consume and then distill, right? Because there's so much being thrown at you. But those sanctions actually then lead us to a very brown kind of thing that most brown people are known for. India kind of then stepped in, right, when the sanctions were happening to say, hey, we'll scoop up this stuff at a discount. Leave it to the brown man to find a
Yeah,
discount, right?
exactly. Like the whole world is putting sanctions on Russia
Right.
and India. Like as you said, it must be the brown jeans. They're always looking for like a discount or a deal, right?
Right,
And now they're picking up oil from Russia at a discounted price,
right, right.
right? And India is supposed to be like an ally of the United States, right?
Yeah,
So it's very like world geopolitics, the way the different the machine, the different cogs are working,
right.
right? You get China as well, right? Who is another superpower,
Yep.
and Russia is banking on China.
They're very big. So again, coming back to what I was talking about with the export, right? Russia being this large exporter of all these things that are so important. The second largest exporter on everything else that's important is China. So I mean, they're hand in glove with allies, right? So it becomes they're literally holding the world hostage around a lot of this stuff. So inflation is going to be rampant due to increased gas prices, and that then increases the gas price increases all the other prices, right, and all the commodities and everything else. Crazy,
Yeah,
crazy times, crazy times.
but I hope like the Ukraine situation, there's a solution to it.
Hmm.
Hopefully quickly, right? And while on the subject of Ukraine, there's armed conflicts all over the world, right? There's armed
Right,
conflicts like the Saudis are bombing the Houthis in Yemen,
right,
right? And United Nations have come out and said that this is a humanitarian crisis in
right,
Yemen,
right,
right?
right,
But in Ethiopia, you got the Tigray crisis.
right,
Then you got the Myanmar, you got the Rohingya refugees.
right,
In China, you got the Uyghur Muslims.
right,
So there's armed conflicts all over the place, and I think a lot of the noise right now is about Ukraine,
right,
which is fine. People are going through that, but we should also take this opportunity to talk about and bring light to all the other armed conflicts that are taking place across the world and question our elected officials as to say, hey, listen, you were able to galvanize yourselves and all the powers to be
right,
within 10 days,
right,
to address what's happening in Ukraine. But the Yemen crisis, the Rohingya, the Uyghur Muslims, the Tigray crisis, and countless other in Venezuela, countless others are everywhere in the world. No one talks about it, right?
mm-hmm.
So we are, as I said, we are in a world where everything, social media and everything has brought us to closer together, and we
Right,
should, like humanity should come first. And
right,
yeah, I hope there's peace before there's peace, man. Quick
yeah,
time too.
yeah. No, it would be nice. I mean, unfortunately, I mean, a lot of that is actually economical. Economics is what's dictating how those conflicts are being managed, and where the resourcing is going towards managing those conflicts, right? It's all economic strategy for the most part, and that's kind of where I think at least the humanitarian aid has to be primary, right? Because that I think one of the things that we are at where we are in our evolution is being able to empathize with another human being, and that's the only way for us to move ahead. Otherwise, we're going to get extinct very soon, right? If
Yeah,
if
I know
we
there's like so much armed conflicts all over the world, man. We
yeah
have
it's
to we have to show compassion to each other, and as brown dads, as parents, we have to teach empathy and compassion to our kids growing
yeah
up, right?
yeah
Where children are the future. We keep
yeah
saying this,
yeah
right? It's very cliched, right?
yeah
Children are the future, and which they are.
yeah
Once we are gone tomorrow, right? Your
they
children are the
inherit
ones
the earth,
carrying your
right?
ideals.
Right,
They're going to be carrying your ideals and values, right? So
right,
we have to teach compassion and empathy.
right.
And hopefully, if we don't see peace in our lifetime, hopefully in the future there is peace, right?
That's the hope. That's the hope. Yeah, definitely, definitely crazy things. But that then actually brings us then even further into India, right? And what's going on with we basically last time we spoke, we did touch base on that incident that happened, with the school in Karnataka in India.
Oh yeah, the hijab ban, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I mean, it's really crazy that talking about that, and now you see a democratic country that's actually moving away from democracy, right? And it's being pushed on certain fronts. So the
It's
did you want to expand on that?
yeah, it's a bit disheartening to see that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the shift in India, like when we grew up, like I grew up in India, right?
Yeah.
And you're Indian as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're Catholic, I'm Muslim, I have
Mm-hmm.
Hindu friends,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
We didn't grow up thinking that, hey, listen, we're a different religion. We grew up like, oh, we're Indian, right? And
Right.
we took pride in that,
Right.
right?
Right.
And however, like in the last couple of years, where it's just like the rhetoric that's coming out from the elected party, it's like, the Hindutva, the Hindu India is a Hindu nation,
Right.
right?
Right.
Which, we were supposed to be our forefathers, our founding fathers of India. We were supposed to be secularism. We are a
Right.
secular country where
Right.
every religion is accepted.
Right.
And we're slowly moving away from that. And it's
Right.
very disheartening to see that,
Right.
right? Like if I have cousins back home, my mom's back home right now, right?
Yeah.
We have roots back home.
I mean,
So it's
it's
kind of
part of the
disheartening.
preamble too, right? I don't know if you remember the preamble. It says all Indians are my brothers and sisters, right? It's part of that.
Yeah, exactly, right. And we grew up with those ideals,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But now it's like it's so it's, and I think it's to do with the ruling party as well,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's kind of okay for the elected party's senior officials to come out and just casually
Yeah. Yeah.
talk about like disparage other religions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's nothing, and
Right.
that sets the tone, and
Right.
it's not a good tone to set, right?
Yeah.
So it's a very slippery slope India is going towards.
Yeah.
I hope that somebody comes to their senses and sees that this is not the way, right?
Right.
I know the Indian youth, like even like Veer Das
Right.
with the Netflix special, the Two Indias,
Right.
phenomenal, right?
Right.
I highly encourage everybody to go out and see that because he nails that topic on the head,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? The two
He's very
Indias, and
outspoken. Shout out to Veer Das, by the way. Yeah.
yeah, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like as someone who sees, like we have the luxury to sit abroad and see what's happening back home, right?
Correct.
He's experienced that and he's nailed that on the head.
Yeah.
So definitely go out and watch that. Highly encourage it. It's called Veer Das,
Yeah.
the two sides of India.
Yeah. Yeah. It's on
And
Netflix, right? It's just Netflix.
yeah, it's on Netflix.
Yeah.
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 So that's that, man. The hijab ban. Coming back to the hijab ban, yeah. The High Court of Karnataka actually upheld the ban, and they said that the hijab is not part of the Islamic dress code. It's not part of Islam. That's
Right.
what they come out and said.
Right.
So now the girls who wear a hijab, they can't go to school. They can't get an education,
Right.
right? So
Right.
it starts affecting
Right.
education, and you see that worldwide too, where different countries have similar laws that kind of discriminate
Right.
against people's religions and stuff like that. So
Right.
again, man, it's a
very
it's not a
thin
good time to
line,
be.
right? It's a very thin
Yeah.
line to thread because you don't know what's on the other side of that and what exactly is going to change in that sentiment. And it's very quick for certain sides to take on that rhetoric and then explode in totally different ways, right? So it's on some level it's sad. On some level, it's inevitable because it's part of the evolution, right? But the hope is that we can all learn to sort of accommodate each other because
And
yeah.
I think what the problem is that when people are afraid of the unknown,
Right.
right? When you don't know something about a particular topic or a particular
Right.
person, you tend to have this, hesitancy. You tend to have like, you tend to view the topic from like, oh, maybe, I'm not too sure about that thing or that person, right?
Right.
That's why we need to be open with each other. We need to, educate each other. We need to have that thing like, hey, it's okay to come talk to me, right?
Yeah.
You don't know what my religion is. Let's have a chat, right? The
Yeah.
more you know, the better, understanding you have. That's why
Right.
they say that the best thing to do in life is like travel travel opens up horizons, right? It
Travel and
broadens
read.
your
These
horizons.
two things, right? Read,
Sorry?
read as well.
Read.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's very important.
Yeah.
So that's that. That's
Yeah.
on the India topic. It's not the first time they've done something like this, and I hopefully the Indian people they wake up, right, and then they
Yeah.
realize that this is not the way that. And actually, you know what, they do realize that, but they're in a situation where they gotta toe the party line,
Yeah.
right? Whatever it goes, you cannot speak against
Yeah.
what the majority thinks, right?
Well, I mean,
So
there's a lot of things that you can't see in India, right? Without being uh, sort of ostracized or even sort of criminalized, so to speak, right? Hey,
that's
what's up, Zane?
Zayn.
Nice to see
Say
you.
hi.
Hi.
It's your past your bedtime.
Yes, is this on YouTube?
It is going to be on
It's
YouTube.
going to be on YouTube.
You're
Say hi
going to be
to
on
the
YouTube.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I
Go
think
on.
that no, I think that's quite a crazy situation. I mean, that hopefully it does get better, as you said, and hopefully we can make it sort of better. But let's move into a little lighter topic. We tried to do this thing, which is a new segment. You want to introduce this new segment? Did you want to quickly talk about that?
Yeah, I wanted to bring this topic out, where it's we'll we'll call it from the archives,
Right,
right? You
right,
and me, we've known each other for so many years, like
right,
almost 2 decades, right?
right,
And we've shared some amazing memories and whatnot, right?
right,
So we have a treasure trove of pictures and stuff like that. So
right.
why don't we share something with our viewers, with people who know us, right?
So let's
When we
start off
call it
with this
from
one,
the
right?
archives.
Yeah, we'll
So
start
yeah,
off with
so
this picture.
this picture,
Yeah,
so this picture was here. You can see, like, it's you, me, our good friends Ryan and Varun,
right,
and Ryan's cousin Dylan.
right, right.
And this is the day of Ryan. Reiner, you can go on from
Yeah,
here.
well, this is actually my wedding day. It's Feb 17th, 2009. So very long time ago. But yeah, as you can see, the hair is a lot more. No beard, less white, right? But you're the only one, I believe, that's dressed up in this picture, Imran. Did you want to share why it is that you were dressed up?
Yeah. So I think the night before was the pani,
Yeah,
the Mandi in Goa,
yeah, the
in Goan
roast.
culture.
In Goa, they call
Yeah,
it the
in Goan
roast, right?
culture,
Yeah,
they call it the roast. In Hyderabadi culture, they call it the Mandi,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
If you go northern India, they call it the Sangeet.
yeah, yeah.
So the night before is when I was told that I was supposed to be a part of the groom party,
Yeah,
and I had to take some gifts and whatnot and take part in this tradition
right,
where I go to the bride's house,
right,
and that is the reason why I'm dressed.
right,
And yeah, right after this picture was taken, we went over to Chinchinim.
right.
That's where Suda's from. So
Yep,
Chinchinim,
yep,
beautiful town.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I'm dressed. And man, thanks to you and Sudha for getting married in Goa, because had it not been for that reason, I would not have seen Goa.
Right, right,
Phenomenal time, amazing beaches and good times. Shout out to Dylan.
yeah,
Dylan's Ryan's cousin.
yeah.
He took care of everything. We stayed with him. We rented one of those Maruti
Maruti
vans.
vans,
You
right?
see in
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you see in those Indian movies. You pull up and somebody gets kidnapped. You
Kidnap,
throw them in
right?
there. Yeah, so he rented that. He drove us around,
Yeah,
and yeah, man, it was good,
it's
right?
crazy,
And,
crazy,
and part of the
crazy.
reason why I want to do this from the archives is because
Just gives us a chance
you
to
know
reminisce, right?
exactly, right, and
Yeah,
it brings back, evokes good memories and whatnot. Because at
nostalgic
the end of the
feelings.
day,
Yeah,
once
yeah.
you get old, what are you gonna have? You're gonna have memories,
The
right?
only thing you have are the memories, right?
Exactly. And then we had some good times, man. And next time we do this, we'll throw out like new pictures,
Yep. Yep.
and we'll go around, from the archives. We'll just reminisce.
Yeah. No, I think that'd be great. That would be great. But that then brings us to the very last thing we want to quickly touch base on, which is something that's celebrated all over India, right? It is a celebration of the beginning of spring. It's known as the Festival of Love or the Festival of Colors. And it is supposed to be the triumph of good over evil. and it's got this new, fresh hope. So maybe we can use that to sort of usher in a new era of hope. And hopefully we can wish all our viewers a very, very happy Holi with that as well.
You know, it's happy Holi first of all,
Yeah,
and secondly, that introduction you gave about Holi, like I only knew that as a festival of colors. I did not
right,
know it was the festival of spring,
right.
which kind of makes sense because it's in Canada, in Toronto. The last 2 days were like phenomenal, right?
Yeah,
I was out in like a t-shirt. It was amazing, right? The
yeah,
festival of spring, it's Holi, and we grew up playing Holi, man,
yeah,
and it was such a good time, such a and even over here too, like Holi is a big festival. I
yeah,
actually drove around
yeah.
in my neighborhood, and there was a family in the driveway playing Holi, and I was
Holi.
like, oh man, no,
Throwing
right? So that's
colors
pretty
at
cool.
each other. Yeah, for those that are
Exactly.
not in the know, I mean, it's basically you're throwing colors at each other, which I think is a lot of fun. But we encourage everyone to try it out. Don't do it in your Armani suits. Do it in the old Armani suits.
We're wear something white,
Yeah,
and then you just throw colors.
yeah,
It's a good time,
yeah.
and yeah, so happy Holi to everyone who's celebrating.
Happy Holi,
And
folks.
as the festival says, the festival of new hope,
Yeah,
new beginnings,
yeah.
and hopefully next time we chat, the war is over, and then we are moving towards peace and
And bigger and
stability.
better things, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, man, it's been quite an informative chat. It's always a pleasure, and I'm always hoping that we can do this a little more regularly, right? We'll see where it goes. But look forward to our other interviews. There'll be another interview being dropped out for our viewers. And I want to say thank you for joining us on this episode of Chai Tea Naan Bread with myself and Imran. Have a good night,
Take
folks.
care, Aaron.
Take
Good
care.
night.